I was looking at my favorite website to find stuff being given away for free when I found an ad for this lawnmower. It was being given away with a few other items, so I can only guess they were making room in their garage. However, when I grabbed the mower and started to push it to the car, I soon realized something was terribly wrong with it, and I hate to say it, this is the only time I've considered leaving an item behind for the next person to worry about. In today's video, we look at this very dirty lawnmower, and the problem is that I just picked it up and I don't know if it runs. Now, the ad did not mention what brand the mower was, and the reason is because it's so dirty you can't even see the name brand on it. Now, I'm going to try and repair this mower, however, it may not be the exact repair you need to make to yours. We'll explore other options later in the video. Now, we're only going to mention what these other options could be. We don't have enough time to look into them, but if you need more information on these other options, you're welcome to ask as many questions as you need to. So why did I consider leaving this mower behind? Well, at this point, it should be very obvious what the problem is. Without a lot of guessing, this mower has one of the largest cracks I've ever seen running from the side chute to the rear of the deck. The scary part is I think they were using it like this until the crack got so bad it was getting harder and harder to use the mower. Overall, I don't have a lot of hope for this mower, and that's because there are so many things wrong with what I see. I'm not sure why there's tape on top of the engine, and I can only guess it's there to keep the air filter from coming off. Now, the pull rope is in terrible shape, and there's also one other part that worries me, the spark plug. Now, it's not a generic brand. In fact, it's the correct brand for the engine. However, it's the wrong size. This particular spark plug is much too long for the head, but by the looks of it, it's been on here for quite some time, so I can only guess that the engine was running despite being the wrong one. Since it's been on here for this long, I'm not going to touch it. So the mowing deck is packed, but it's not grass that it's packed with, it's dirt. That means this mower was used more on dirt than grass. Unfortunately, this is going to be tough to clean and take some time. The good news is that the blade is still there, which is great, but it looks like they installed it in the wrong orientation, and it looks like it's been this way for a long time, so I'm not going to touch it just yet. Now for this one, I won't be able to just wash away the dirt because at this point, it's going to be really tough to remove. That means I need to scrape the dirt off and then wash it. So what are my plans for this mower, and why would I even bother trying to clean it if things look pretty bleak? Well, it's pretty simple. First, I need to see what I'm working with. I need to see the extent of the damage on the deck, and also I need to see what kind of condition the engine is in as well. It's kind of hard to do that with it looking like this. So my plans are to clean the deck and see if the crack is even repairable. At this point, I'm pretty sure it's not. Then I want to see if the engine runs because I might be able to use it on a different project. The best part about this mower is the self-propel, and if I can salvage this part, it'll make this mower worth the trip. Unfortunately, from everything I've seen so far, I don't see anything useful from this mower, but once I get it clean, I'll then be able to figure that out. It's just amazing to see how bad they let this mower get before deciding to get rid of it. I guess I've been pretty lucky and picked up a lot of mowers that just didn't start and then they gave it away, but on this one, the previous owners were much more resourceful and fixed what they could to keep it going, and this is why it ended up this way. I shouldn't be too surprised. I've given away mowers before, and if I gave them away, what kind of condition do you think they were in? That's right, more than likely they were also very unfixable and only suitable for the salvage yard. So I can't really be too hard on the people who gave it away. All I have to say is they really got their money's worth from this one. My job now is to see if I can find any meat left on these bones. Now, since it's mainly covered in dirt, I am not going to use my normal degreaser. Instead, I'm going to use my dollar store cleaner. The reason is because dirt doesn't need a degreaser to remove it. However, if I do run into any oily spots, I will of course change over to the stronger stuff. To be honest, I really didn't want to use any cleaners on this one, only because I really don't care how this one comes out, because more than likely, I'm only going to use it for parts. It goes without saying, I'm not going to try and shine this one up. The strange thing is that the wheels and tires look to be in really good shape considering what they've been put through. The tread on the front tires is pretty much gone, but from what I can tell, the teeth on the edge of the wheels are not worn out, and so I should be able to use them on a different project after swapping the tires, of course. If you didn't know, the tires can be removed and new ones put on, although they don't sell just the tires. You'll have to get them from a different wheel. I do have a project where the drive system is more than likely broken beyond my ability to fix it, or at least in a monetary sense, so taking the drive off this mower and putting it on that one might be a good use for it. But before I can even consider doing that, we need to either get the engine working again to test the drive, or there is one other way to test it that doesn't require the engine to be working, but it's still a valid test. The first part of the alternative test is to remove the cover for the belt so we can get to the pulley on the transmission. This will also let us inspect the drive belt, which is typically in pretty good shape. I'm also going to clean under here as well because it has a tendency to rust here as well. If I spin one of the wheels, it doesn't have a problem transferring that rotation through the drive system and turning the other wheel, which is a good sign. The next part we're concerned with is the pulley on the transmission. I'm going to tie down the self-propel handle and then put a drill on the bolt for the pulley and turn it the normal direction. As you can see, the drive is working to spin the wheels, which means it still works and is worth salvaging. Just out of curiosity, I wonder if the wheels will spin backwards if I spin the pulley the other direction. I guess the answer is yes. Before I go any further, I want to remove the netting on the handlebar. I'm not sure why it's even on here, but it's not going to be on here much longer. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm not going to throw it away. Instead, I might repurpose it. Now the brake lever and cable seems to be working, which is another part I might salvage from this mower. Now I do need to check if the engine is seized by pulling on this terrible looking rope, and as you can see, the engine is not seized, so we're one step closer to doing a test start. The last thing we need to do is check whether or not we have enough oil in the engine, and I hate to say it, but this is when things turn from bad to horrific. First off, the oil that was on the dipstick is extremely dark, which is never a good sign. Secondly, the oil level is practically non-existent, which is a horrible sign. Hopefully they weren't running it like this, but you never know. Yet again, the worst is still yet to come. I then removed the air filter to get it ready for the test start when I realized someone had been here fiddling with the governor spring in the worst possible way. It appears they wired it through the anchor and pulled it tight. This would mean more than likely it was set up to run at max engine speed, which is not a good idea, especially without the correct amount of oil in the engine. I released the end of the spring so there's less tension on it, but I won't be able to set it until we get it started. The next bad sign is what I see inside the throat of the carb, which is a lot of dirt. Remember how the underside of the deck was coated with dirt? Unfortunately, that dirt has also made its way past the filter because it wasn't oiled correctly and has coated the inside of the carb. If it looks this bad here, it means the inside of the engine is also in really bad shape. The dirt particles will destroy the engine, and after time, it'll lose its ability to compress air for the combustion process. There's really nothing left to do except try and start it now. Quite amazingly, it started and ran, which is unbelievable considering what this mower has gone through. That just goes to show you how resilient this Briggs flathead really is. It's been mistreated and driven harder than it should have been and survived. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm not going to say it hasn't been damaged because it certainly doesn't sound healthy, but it's not bad considering the situation. Unfortunately, this is where we have to leave the project because I now have to figure out what I'm going to do with it. So far, the engine starts and runs, the self-propel seems to be working, and I have some wheels with good teeth and tread. It looks like this deck is the only problem, so unless I can find a mower with a bad engine, I think I know what I have to do with this one. Another option as to why they tried to max out the engine speed is that the engine is extremely worn out due to breathing in too much dirt over the years, so to compensate for the lack of power they decided to just increase the engine speed. It does work, but it's not good on an engine, especially when it doesn't have enough oil in it. The fix would be to, of course, replace the engine. So in the end, this mower has survived its time in purgatory and has come back to life, but unfortunately, it's a mere shell of the mower it used to be. There's not much hope for this mower, and I don't think it's worth trying to fix the deck. Or is it? I've never seen anyone fix a deck because of rust, but what about a crack? It might be an interesting venture to try and fix, though. So my question is, should I try to keep this mower together and intact and try to fix the crack by welding plates over the crack? Or would I be wasting my time? I'm not much of a welder, but then again, it's only a mower and not a race car. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or your own projects. And I hope to see you in the next video.